Hey, what's up, everybody? It's the Crypto Ginger here. Just want to take a quick moment, go over some of the more recent news, and of course, I want to take a quick look at the markets right now because we are seeing what looks to be a little bit of drop off with the price for a lot of your top performing cryptocurrencies. Now, it's not very substantial. We definitely had a nice little rally for the last 48 to 72 hours. But we've since seen a little bit of drop off with your top performing cryptocurrencies, some more so than others. But I would say a lot of that has to do with some of the news we've been getting lately. For example, the SEC just recently rejected Bitwise's latest Bitcoin ETF proposal. This is now the second within the last couple months we've seen as far as another rejection for ETF proposals. And I believe this is the last time we're going to hear about this for the rest of this year when it comes to any other type of ETF proposals. So we aren't going to be hearing about any other additional ETFs, at least from my understanding. And of course, I think that we're still waiting for a lot of news when it comes to Fidelity, for example. We were anticipating a lot when it comes to Bakkt. That actually, sparked a little bit of lackluster there. So it's very possible Fidelity might do the same thing. But of course, we also have news that's circulating about the IRS has just released their first tax guidance in the last 5 years now for cryptocurrencies. So this right here could also have a very big impact on what's happening with the markets here. Now, I'm not thinking that this particular bit of news, as far as, again, the IRS creating this particular cryptocurrency tax guidance, has a big hindrance on the market, but I do think that because we're coming at the very end of this year here, and of course we only have a couple months left, that's going to fulfill the rest of your year for what you'll need for taxes for the following year. So very interesting, and of course a very, I would imagine, correlated process here when it comes to the IRS now releasing this information right alongside of, again, the rejection of another Bitcoin ETF proposal. So just take that information in, guys, when it comes to what you're seeing with the market right now, because a lot of this does happen to affect the market right alongside of the fact that we're getting close to the weekend as well. So not the largest amount of activity in the markets on the weekend. So something to keep in mind when it comes to what you're seeing. And of course, if you are anticipating getting into the market, just make sure you're watching for those dips for sure. A couple bits of news that I wanted to quickly go over just as well. Now, it's very interesting. We're seeing a lot more of Brad Garlinghouse in the media, especially with all the interviews he's been doing lately. And of course, if you've seen the recent Anthony Pompliano, Brad Garlinghouse interview, I would definitely say go watch that. Take it with a grain of salt. It's very interesting to see a Bitcoin maximalist kind of having a conversation with the CEO of Ripple, who is not only focusing on XRP as a use case, but also focusing on other cryptocurrencies that have a use case as well. So he's very open-minded, but again, he's talking to a Bitcoin maximalist, Anthony Pompliano, who is pretty much stuck in his ways when it comes to Bitcoin. So very interesting interview. Like I said, take it with a grain of salt, but nonetheless, we are seeing a lot more of Brad Garlinghouse with these interviews. And also, we're getting a lot more insight from his knowledge about what's happening with cryptocurrency space versus that of your standard economic system. And one of the things that he actually mentioned in a recent interview is that he's warning that the United States dollar is at risk of being displaced by China and their central bank digital currency, their CBDC. Now, we definitely know that China's been working on one of those, and of course, they're stepping up and ramping up the production when it comes to this central bank digital currency for China. Now, also, if you keep in mind the fact that we have different types of sanctions between the United States and China, this right here, this central bank digital currency for China, could actually help them circumvent the tariffs that are currently between the United States and China. And if that is the case, then it really did no good for the United States to create tariffs. But I think there's a bigger agenda involved when it comes to what's happening between the United States and China. And that's going to result in something we'll see when it comes to, at least closer to the time of re-election for Trump or anybody who's running up against Trump. But nonetheless, guys, very interesting takeaway when it comes to, again, Brad Garlinghouse mentioning that he could foresee the United States dollar being at risk of being displaced by China and their central bank digital currency. Now, I'm bringing this up because we've actually gotten reference from Brad Garlinghouse as well that he doesn't see why there's any reason why his firm, the Ripple company, should not be working with Iran, when we already know that the United States has different types of sanctions against Iran right now. And of course, the way Brad Garlinghouse sees this right here, that we need to create transparency, and he also thinks that Iran is also a very big part of the global banking infrastructure that's happening right now on a global scale, on a worldwide scale. So to exclude Iran would actually being what is, at least what I gathered from this, doing an injustice to a global banking infrastructure. They're just simply excluding a country. So again, I think a lot of this is simply ramping up for what we're going to be expecting to see for the 2020 elections for the United States president. But nonetheless, we are seeing some, major talking points when it comes to, again, Brad Garlinghouse looking at Iran for a possible, area that they can actually create a firm there. And again, we're seeing them talk about transparency. Now, in this article, I say that he did mention the word transparency when it comes to what's happening with government resistance towards cryptocurrency, but I found it very interesting that we just got reference from Trump that he signs an executive order on transparency in the federal guidance and enforcement. So the word transparency is kind of being shifted along, kind of like that level playing field terminology. We're just seeing some very similar words here being used by very key people, whether they are, representative of countries or representative of companies. We're seeing these same type of similar words being used here. So whether or not they're on the same page, I'm not exactly sure. I just found it very interesting that we're seeing, again, Brad Garlinghouse doing a lot more interviews, speaking his insight and what he knows about, the cryptocurrency space versus that of the financial ecosystem on a global scale, right alongside of using key words that we're already seeing that the president of the United States is using as well. So very interesting takeaway there. You have to let me know what you think about all this information, guys. But again, we have to keep our eyes and ears out for any more interviews that Brad Garlinghouse does. And if you see anything that I might have missed, please leave that in the comment section just as well. One last thing I want to quickly go over as well. Now, this last bit of information, I want to make sure I give credit to XRP Crypto Wolf for alerting the XRP community about this. Of course, he's just another person that likes to make sure we're all on the same page with any of the news and announcements that we might miss. And here we are seeing that Binance DEX will be listing XRP-BF2 and open trading for XRP BNB, which is Binance coin. And this was going to be taking place around October 10th of this year at 8:30 a.m. So again, we're seeing some more establishment when it comes to having XRP as another paired asset there. Of course, this is again on the Binance DEX site that they're having. And one last thing that XRP Crypto Wolf alerted me about as well. We just so happen to have an article here from Cointelegraph talking about how Bank of America's job posting hints at a hired dedicated Ripple specialist. And of course, the way that XRP Crypto Wolf has kind of summarized this, we have Bank of America job posting suggests a Ripple hookup is coming since they hired a treasury product manager for Ripple. They will lead product management for Ripple's project, a decentralized ledger tech to cross-border payments marketing to GTS clients. And of course, I did see reference of an actual image of the actual page for this listing for this job hiring. Again, it's for a Ripple specialist. As a matter of fact, XRP Twin just posted the actual screenshot of this Bank of America job description, which actually talks about the Ripple project. And of course, you'll be working and managing the Ripple products and development capabilities for further growth when it comes to Bank of America and this particular position here. So again, very intriguing when it comes to what we're seeing as far as development for Ripple the company, their expansion with other companies out there. And now we're seeing Bank of America listing for a job description that actually is going to have some involvement with Ripple products and their projects. So things to take in consideration, guys, when it comes to what's happening in this ecosystem here. You can actually take a lot of this with a grain of salt, but we are seeing a lot of growth, a lot of expansion happening, and it's nonstop. And of course, my guess is that 2020 is going to be a year that's going to show us a lot of development when it comes to this cryptocurrency ecosystem. But again, you'll have to let me know what you think about all this information here, guys. Just another video that I want to make sure you're all on the same page with. And of course, if you like what you see, please hit the like and subscribe button. Also, if you're new to this channel, please hit that like and subscribe button and that share button to get this content out there to as many people as possible. Outside of that, thanks again for watching and have a good day. Bye-bye.